here in New Orleans on a fantastic layover and a beautiful day, beautiful spring day here in New Orleans, and a perfect opportunity for me to update you, give you a long-term review, and answer your questions on one of my favorite things, not just recently, but for a very long time. One of my very favorite things. It's the Boogie Bag, the Mark III Boogie Bag, which I've had for about 8 months. I'm also going to answer your questions, which a lot of great questions out there. Thanks for asking them. So let's get to it. Let's find a quiet place to discuss the Boogie Bag. It's a pretty good spot of any, quiet enough. Let's talk about the Boogie Bag. And really, I've had this 1200D, 1200 RECOR made by Challenge sailcloth. It's kind of a very thick, kind of a textured material. Had this one, the Mark III, for about 8 months. And then I recently acquired this 500D version of it. The purpose being to just kind of decide whether this thinner material felt any different day to day comparing these two. And the answer is really not that much. So yes, this is a much thicker material than the 500D, but day to day, due to the material and buildup of this, it doesn't really feel all that thicker, I would say, 500 to 1200. But what I do notice is the texture of this one. So this is 500D. I've used this one, the 500D, in all the Ragnar relay races, and it's, you know, holding up fantastically. It doesn't really show any wear. It will probably wear down a little bit quicker than this Challenge sailcloth RECOR, if you can really tell any difference between the two colors. So yeah, so anyway, big difference, not really. The texture really is the only thing, and I do prefer the smoother on, at least, you know, when I'm running around with this thing. That's pretty much the only difference. I haven't had any of the X-Pack or Echo Pack versions. Probably going to try that one next just to see how that one works, but really they're all fantastic. So the way you can tell these two differently in my photos and videos, I put the orange pulls on this one because it's my running one and I want a little high vis, so I put some reflective patches on this when I run. This one's more my stealthy around town hip pack that I wear wherever I go. So again, super cool, great design. I'll talk a little bit about how I put stuff in here in a second. Only additions really, I added the zipper pulls, some different knots, so when I'm on the go I can feel which pocket I'm into. So I normally put the bigger zipper pulls on the main compartment, thinner, smaller, got the loudest golf carts here, thinner, smaller knots on the smaller, and I just usually leave the back one as it is because I like it to be stealthy. Doesn't really need to, I don't need to advertise that there's something back there. So what do I put in here? On the go, batteries to whatever camera I have with me, maybe my wallet in here. I might attach something in here, but I don't typically attach anything. I don't have keys with me normally. In the back pocket, I would put my phone, or I keep usually some field notes or a pen in the back. It's padded. It's not waterproof, so that's one thing I learned. Ran with this thing, got it all sweated up after about an hour or two of running, and it sweat through. So you're not going to keep anything necessarily dry in that back pocket if you're getting it soaked out for an entire day. Main compartment, again, this one just has some action camera stuff in here. On the loop clip in here, I usually have a Apple AirTag, so if I lose this thing, I can track it and know where it is. Let's get to your questions. First up, is it worth the hype compared to all other sling options out there? I would say yes. And this is the way I look at this thing. This for me is the gold standard for hip packs. I wouldn't say slings, as it's not necessarily designed as a sling, although you can, and I have used it as a sling. But in terms of just a hip pack, I love it because of the different options. Now that we have the back option, we have the main compartment and this front pocket with some organization. Has a classic design, fantastically built, and just always has things in the right place for where I want it. So for me, it's a gold standard. I compare it to a GR1 in the GOODWERKS world in terms of backpack. I compare other things to this in the hip pack world, just like I would a backpack, I compare it to the GR1. Compare it to things I like, and I happen to love this one. So I think it is worth the hype. Another great question was stock straps, question mark. Now, the straps are something I would improve, but I also haven't found anything that I like any better than this one. So these are good, and I do use them all the time. I use them in the Ragnar Relay. I use them for around town. They're just simple, effective, easy to adjust, just simple and effective. And again, I've tried putting fidlocks on this thing and just really haven't found a mode that works any better than this. So I do like the stock straps. Looks sold out. What is the good alternative from a competitor that isn't just the limited drops? Well, I think you have to ask yourself, do you want a hip pack or do you want a sling? In the hip pack world, and really converts to a sling quite easily, I like the Evergoods Cast 2. That's a good, I think, different layout, but has some nice features that would be great, and it's available. Check the link in the description at Evergoods for the Cast 2. Is there anything you would have added besides the back pocket to the new design? I would like, since we're just making it up, on the main compartment in the front, I would like maybe an internal zip, a lot like you see on the Evergoods, some way to organize and keep things separated from the main part of the bag. That's really it. The rest of it I do like. I'm not really super sold on this bottom thing, especially when I keep it compressed, it kind of bunches out, but when it's full, you really don't notice it. I don't tend to ever put anything in there. That's just one thing I'm just kind of like, it's there, it's cool, but I'm agnostic about it. Is it a product of hype culture or truly a must own? Well, I kind of already answered that, but I do think this is a must hunt. Definitely keep checking back the website. Keep up with the Instagram stories. He's usually showing you, Tim is showing you in his Instagram stories what he's building and working on next. So you're gonna see what might pop up on his website. He doesn't send out emails anymore, so it's luck of the draw. You just kind of have to be there at the right time to pick up a Boogie Bag. The Mark III, I think, is fantastic and worth acquiring. Why? Because durability, utility, style, craftsmanship, it just kind of has it all, and it's for me the gold standard. But again, personal preference, I like it. Someone asked best and least favorite changes to this design. The best by far, I think, is this rear pocket. It's just a total win. I put my phone in here, I like it, it works out fantastic. Least favorite, these side loops were changed. I don't really use them that much, but I do like the simple ones we had before, which were nice. And I don't know that I really like this bottom part. Someone asked, what's the most frustrating part of this bag? Well, apart from getting one. Well, that's, yeah, they kind of answered the question. It is kind of, I wish there was more. Tim is making great efforts to increase the production of the Boogie Bag while yet retaining its craftsmanship and quality make that he's put his heart and soul into. Now, the frustrating thing, I'd like a different strap, like I said, but then again, like I've already mentioned, I don't have a better solution to that. It's just kind of what it is. It's kind of where we are. And the last great question that somebody asked, which fabric is the best? So again, I can only really compare this design between a 500D and a 1200 RECOR by Challenge sailcloth. These are thick and thin. I don't have any of the X-Pack or Echo Pack versions of the bag. Which one's best? Personal choice. They're all gonna be awesome. They're all gonna live forever, depending on how abusive you are to that bag, but they're all gonna be fantastic. So that's what I think about the Boogie Bag and your questions. Thanks for asking them. Lots of great ones. Follow me on my Instagram stories and leave me a question on the next one. Must be time to go. Oh, he just started the music right after I said it. Full on little soundtrack on this one. That's what I think of the Boogie Bag Mark III. I've had it for a while now, and it's fantastic. Totally love this thing. Goes everywhere on every trip, carries camera gear and whatever I need for the day. It just does fantastic. So is it worth it? Absolutely. Should you try to go get it? Absolutely. They're hard to find, but I promise you when you get it, you'll be happy with it, and it'll probably be something you just can't live without, because I cannot live without mine. So I didn't even pay him to play that. Like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you know where I am, you probably know where I'm going next. Yep, it's happening. See ya. Beignets. Thank you.
All right, once again, guys.